YouTube? Today we're going to look at the 5 best loadouts since the nerf of the FFAR and the AUG, if you can call it a nerf. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can get all the content that is coming in the next couple of weeks. In terms of the post-patch, we already know that the FFAR and the AUG was pretty much busted. Now, since then, obviously they've made some changes. Has it had an effect? I would say with the FFAR, no. You can still change the loadout and you can get one hell of a gun. The AUG, a bit more of an effect. What we're going to do, I'm going to show you what I think are the best 5 classes right now for Warzone. The ones that are going to give you the best advantage in Warzone right now. Okay, since the FFAR and the AUG have been tweaked and nerfed slightly, there have been alterations to the classes that you will pull out. So I've been having a look at these, and to be honest, the FFAR is still top dog. It is still #1 class to go for, especially for the up close battles. Yes, it's a little bit slower, but there is one setup that can basically counteract that. So when you are setting up the FFAR, you're obviously wanting to set up a couple of things. Now, you might vary it a little bit, but this is what I've got so far. So what I've got is the agency suppressor, obviously because I want to be undetected on the map. Some people are opting to get rid of the agency suppressor. I've seen, for example, Aiden, he's been running without it. And that's okay. It's for the people who are more bold, who are willing to take those fights, and they're willing to go, you know what, if someone's going to come at me, I'll have them every time. You've got a choice within the barrels. Now, personally, I've been going for the task force, and the main reason I've been going for the task force is the strafe speed. The strafe speed is really good with this, but I have seen a lot of other people opting for the reinforced heavy. Again, the reinforced heavy increases that bullet velocity, which means you are going to be hitting those people much quicker with those bullets. So either of those two are pretty good for this. But where this is different now, the Raider stock from previous iterations of this gun, still there. Ammunition wise, because it's so slow to aim down sight, you got to get rid of the fast mag. Fast mag just doesn't do enough for you. Unfortunately, solos, maybe you'd be able to get away with it, but at the same time, it just seems pointless, because at this point, if you go for the 50 mag, it's much better at aim down sight. The aim down sight was nerfed with the FFAR, so you really don't want to punish yourself any more than it already have. The only difference is, normally what we used to do is run the field agent grip. Trash it, get rid of it. As long as you're able to balance out the horizontal and vertical recoil, and let's be honest, you should be up close using this gun, the best next thing to go for is a serpent wrap. All of the grips got fixed recently. That there is probably the thing that is going to save the FFAR right now. It increases the aim down sight to the point where, you know, you can still slay people up front. That sprint to fire time, obviously being a negative, gets balanced out with the fact that you have, on the Raider stock, an increase in the sprint to time. So the Raider actually balances out the fact that that is affected by the Serpent. It's your choice if you want to make a couple edits, but that's probably the best setup right now. Let's be honest, everyone was using the AUG. The AUG got hit hard. What is the next best AUG? This is it, the M16. The M16 right now is probably the best gun you can get. Unfortunately, I just had to put the agency suppressor on because I've been running the silencer. I've only just got it up to level 46. Shows how little I've been playing with it. But what I'll say is, even when I had the silence on, this thing slaps. This thing is so... I've been two-tapping people to get them down really easily. It's really good at mid-range. It can be used at long range, but it does suffer a little bit because of the bullet drop-off. Well, the damage drop-off. If you have a look at this, again, agency suppress, it keeps you covered. It's what you need on pretty much most of your guns. On this one, you want to go for the strike team because of the fire rate. It increases the fire rate, it means you can hit those shots a lot quicker. A lot of people are opting for things like the task force as well, but personally, the strike team, just the way to go. Field agent grip, it is pretty accurate, but what I would say is, because of that vertical recoil, get that field agent grip on. You don't need a lot of ammo for this gun. I've seen a lot of people try and run 60 rounds. I've tried to see people run the 45 fast reload. Don't need it. Just go for the 45 rounds. It doesn't affect the ADS then, and it slaps. It's enough bullets, that is, to take out pretty much a whole squad. And for the optical, I normally go for the 3 times. Some people I've seen have been going for the 2 times. It depends on preference. Also, what I would recommend is definitely check the reticle out. Don't run one of these, man. Please don't. I hate these. Personally, there are a couple that I would definitely go for. Some of the ones, like for example, this one, pretty good because it's not going to cover most of the screen. But at the moment, that's the one I'm running. It's very minute details on the actual sight. Really good. It's pretty decent for you being able to lock in on that enemy and take them out. That's probably the best M16 class you can get right at this moment. That thing is ridiculous. With the FFAR being nerfed, one of the guns that is going to start making a comeback has got to be the MAC-10. The MAC-10 is up close one of the best guns. One of the biggest issues was it just couldn't compete against the FFAR. Right now, because of the ADS problems with the FFAR, MAC-10 is now becoming more and more viable. One of the things that I would look at is, obviously the agency suppressor again, keep you undercover, you're not going to get caught out from the map. Task force barrel, because you need that extra strafe speed, it means you can zip along and hardly anyone can catch you with that. I would then use the field agent grip just for the vertical and horizontal recoil. The 53 round drum, a lot of people started opting for the fast mag, but it just affects the ADS so much. You need this gun as quick as possible if you're going to deal with the FFARs. Go for the round drum. That thing is super quick, it helps you aim down sight really quickly. Yeah, the reload speed isn't great, but when you've got 53 rounds, it pretty much slays. The last thing I would say that could be an issue is the stock. It's your choice on how you run this. I've been running the wire stock because it increases sprint to fire time. I don't know if it makes a big difference going for that. I actually personally like that. You could, which most people go for, is this, the Raider stock. Okay, ADS wise, it's pretty good. I've seen a couple of people going no stock. What I've seen as well is a lot of people opting for either the Serpent wrap or the airborne elastic wrap, just because of that aim down sight, how it increases it. It's up to you how to do it. I personally been using the wire stock and might start switching to that soon, but we'll see. An absolute classic gun, something that can now become quite high up on the meta, the car. The car, you've got to imagine you are in a battle zone right now where burst guns are a big issue. Burst guns are good, medium, kind of okay at long range, but this gun can counter it. The problem is so many people are using that now at medium range. If you're at a long range battle, this thing will slap. This thing will beat the ass off anyone who's running any of those burst guns, okay? So in terms of singles, this is a really good gun. Even in terms of teams, this is a really good gun. It's the classic setup, so you've got monolithic suppressor, increases the damage range, and it's got the why can't I say the word suppression? Suppression, so you can't be seen on the map, which is really good. You go for the longest barrel, you want the biggest bullet velocity again. The quicker you're hitting someone, the quicker they die. Tac laser, just because it increases the aim down sight speed, really important. Obviously you want to hit those quick scopes, potentially this is helpful, but also you want to be able to hit them quicker than they can hit you. Now, there's a lot of issues with the scopes at the moment. There's a couple of scopes that aren't giving glints. Traditionally, I still stick with it as the sniper scope. There are a couple of scopes on here that for some reason are glitching and then they're not showing up. You don't get this glint. So potentially it might be worth you trying one of those unglintless scope. Unglintless? One of those scopes that doesn't have a glint out might be something worth trying. The last one, a lot of people, if you want to do the quick scoping, go for the sport cone. Personally, because of the sway, the best one to go for is the precision cone. That thing makes the sway so minute, the chances of you hitting those shots goes up massively. And especially on Warzone when you've got those big range shots, that'll be worth it. That's probably the best gun to counteract at range those burst guns. It's a beast. Now this gun is a fan favourite. It's a favourite of mine as well. I think now, more than ever, the Bullfrog has got its way into the meta. With the FFAR getting nerfed up close, this thing can shred. This thing, if you're hitting the headshots, the TTK is unbelievable. It'll outbeat any of the other SMGs. What I would recommend is this setup here. So what I've got is the groove suppressor again for the What I've got here is the groove suppressor, really good again because of the bullet velocity increase. It helps with vertical control, but also sound suppression. You want to stay silent, you want to stay off the grid. In terms of this, I used to run the VDV reinforced because of the bullet velocity and the effective damage range. What I've started to move towards now is the task force barrel, and the reason for that is the strafe speed. This thing with the strafe speed increased is an absolute menace. This thing is disgustingly good up close. The more you're moving, it's harder for them to hit you, and it's a bit easier for you to hit them and not get shot in the process. If you're hitting those headshots with this thing, it's going to be disgusting, especially with that strafe speed. Bunny hop around the corner, they got no chance. What I also run is the Staglag 85 round, 85 bullets. This thing is disgusting. You're not going to have to reload often. You can honestly take out a couple of players before you have to reload, sometimes potentially even a team. Some people opt for the fast mag, but again, it ruins the aim down sight. It's just not worth it. Honestly, if I get a chance, go for the 85 round. Now, this is where it can change a little bit depending on your playstyle. I've got the Spetsnaz grip. The main reason for that is the vertical and horizontal recoil. The reason for that, like I said, this thing when it's hitting headshots, the damage multiplier on it is disgusting. So you need something that is getting those headshots for you. It's not going to have much recoil. So personally, I go for that because it balances out the vertical and horizontal recoil. I've seen a lot of people dropping this now, and a lot of people going for the Serpent Wrap just for the aim down sight. If you feel comfortable hitting those headshots, get rid of that and go for the Serpent Wrap. Do it. Okay? It's a really good option. And then for the stock, I've been running this, the skeletal stock. It's really good for the sprint to fire time. It's good for the movement speed, and if you have a look, it increases the ADS firing move speed. So, all in all, this thing is really quick. As long as you are hitting your headshots, like I said, this thing will destroy the opposition. You obviously have to compete with the FFAR. This is one that I think potentially will start to rise in the meta soon. I do want to add two more guns that I think have gone under the radar a little bit recently and need a little bit of love and support because they still stand a chance. The first one being the Tundra. I am on board with this. This is such a good sniper. Tim the Tapman was right with this, it does slap. At the moment, this is the setup I'm running. It feels pretty good. You've got the rep suppressor obviously for the suppression, but you've also got the vertical recoil control, which is really good. The bullet velocity goes up to a point where it's pretty much hit scan. This gun is disgustingly good. I normally go for the combat recon because of the bullet velocity. If you increase the bullet velocity, it's pretty much going to be, wherever you are aiming, it's going to hit. Hit scan sort of snipers like this are so good. I've seen a couple of people going for the Hammer Forge because of the fire rate. You could potentially go for that. But I personally go for the combat recon just for that bullet velocity. The quicker I'm hitting them, the better. In terms of this, bipod, I like because of the recoil control. I've seen a couple of people changing this up a little bit. I've seen some people going for the Bruiser grip. I've seen a couple going for the Patrol grip, the Infiltrator grip. It changes depending on the person, but personal preference, I'm going for this just for the recoil control. In terms of the grip, since the update, I've been putting the Serpent Wrap on it. I used to have the 7-round mag on it, but right at this moment I've been going for the Serpent Wrap because it increases the ADS, and this thing with this on is becoming closer and closer to the car for ADS, and if it can compete with the car, it's a great gun. And the one thing that I think that bumps this up above some of the other snipers is this. The Royal and Cross 4 times. This thing has no glint, and it pretty much has exactly the same zoom as a Car 98. So in terms of this, you can be sniping someone and they will not have a clue where you are. It gives you that little bit of an advantage, that little bit of time extra to cover your ass. You can keep moving about. They're going to struggle to find where you are. Normally when you've got a sniper glint, they can pick out where you are, they can poke up, see you, poke down and go right, pre-aim, shoot you. This is a lot more difficult. The last gun, and honestly, I can understand why this has gone under the radar, especially with the burst rifles. This gun still is a great gun. The problem is, at this point in time, it's obviously still competing with the M16 potentially maybe the AUG if people are running it. This thing is really good. The AMAX is such a good gun. During that time period when we didn't know about the burst rifle weapons, this thing started to show up more and more. And it's still a really good gun. You go for the monolithic suppressor, again for the sound suppression, the Zodiac for the damage range, the bullet velocity and the recoil control, which is really good. The 45 round mags, because you need enough bullets to kill a team. I normally go for the VLK 3x optic. It's probably the best optic from Modern Warfare for a Warzone. Be very careful though with your reticle. Personally, you got a choice of all these. Some people go for this one because it doesn't add anything on. I go for this because the red dot is a decent indicator of what you are actually hitting. It's up to you, it's up to preference. I just think this one doesn't have much that fills the screen, it's quite clean. A lot of people go for that one as well because it's clean looking, it's very clear where the centre is, there's not a lot that takes up the space of your view. The only thing on this gun that can be changed that I think does make it a little bit easier, some people have started opting to take away the Commando foregrip and replace it with the Ranger foregrip. The reason why is because that thing with the Ranger foregrip attached to it really helps the recoil. The recoil pattern on this is really bad. But if you are able to control it, it's a really good gun. You're more likely to find people on PC using mouse and keyboard using Commando foregrip. I would recommend for the people on controller to kind of test this. If you can't control that recoil, try the Ranger foregrip. Well, there you have it, folks. That is my top 5 plus 2 extras. My top 5 guns for Warzone right in this meta. If you've got any other recommendations for guns that slap in Warzone, please put them in the chat. I would love to see them. I'd love to test them out. I'd appreciate that massively. If you've enjoyed the content and like the classes, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Drop me a like on this video. Much love for that. Have a good day, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the Warzone.